Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown. That was a little surprise from our producer this morning.
Yeah.
We have been doing this show for a year. Can you believe it?
But it's hard to believe. But we thank you for being with us and telling all your friends, and tell more.
Yes.
If you'd like to be a contributor, a donor, just feel free.
Yes, you can also subscribe, and we'll have some extra bonus content coming. So very exciting stuff going on.
For sure.
Well,
it was off to Maui. The president was kind enough to interrupt his vacation that he had taken to recover from his last vacation. So he went from his vacation in Delaware, his home there, to Lake Tahoe, and then took time out of his busy schedule in Lake Tahoe to actually go to Maui.
Yeah, for some reason, I feel like he thinks his job as president is just a vacation at the best spots in the United States.
Yes, sirree. Yeah, just like O.J. Simpson, still looking for the real killer on some of the best resorts in the world. So, off to Maui.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat. But all kidding aside, I watched the firefighters, the way they responded. You know, there's an old expression. I grew up right across the street from a fire hall in Claymont, Delaware. And the expression is, God made man, then he made a few firefighters. You're all crazy, thank God. The only people who run into flames to help other people. And they ran into flames, saved my wife, and saved my family. Not a joke. The smoke, and the firefighters here can tell you, sometimes smoke is so thick from the windows out, it was that thick inside the home. And we were insured. We did not have any problem, but being out of our home for a better part of a year was difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your home.
he can only imagine.
He can't help himself, can he? He tells families of that were the 13 that were just at our first anniversary, of the second anniversary of that, of getting out of Afghanistan, and he goes to the funeral looking at his watch, the body's coming back, looking at his watch all the time, and then telling the families that his kid came home in a flag-draped coffin.
So this president, quote unquote, is a liar. He lies about everything. Also, it's not about you. You weren't sent there to make this about you. And, you know, I did not pull the footage because there was a lot of F words, but there were people that basically just said, F you, Joe Biden, giving him the finger. People are not happy. This 13 days for him to get there.
I saw a lot of Trump signs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
but that was just, this is pathetic. He didn't say anything for 5 days, except no comment. How do you say that when you've got the worst forest fire in the history of the country, and these people crying, "Aren't we Americans too?"
Well, and Lizzie Warren's with us this morning. She says, my blood is boiling. Read a story of a family finding their dead 14-year-old with his arms wrapped around their dog. He is a joke.
Yeah, that is a joke. But with him, every time he says no joke, you know that he's lying.
Yes.
Now, of course, when his lips are moving, you know he's lying. But to use this story of a kitchen fire, and the story's mostly not true anyway, but it was basically a kitchen fire, and it was put out very, very quickly. I think it lasted 15 or 20 minutes, and to compare this to the destruction of an island, one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and people losing their homes, their families, their everything.
Well, he's basically saying, we had a little kitchen fire. My family got saved. Everything was good for us. We had insurance. Like, how are you going to go to Hawaii and say this to these people that have been devastated? They still don't know they're not releasing the numbers on how many children were killed. The
monumental incompetence of this is so mind-blowing that it's a shame we don't have a media in this country. Well,
and if they are sending media over to Maui, they're doxing the reporters over there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot going on in Hawaii that we are not getting access to as well.
Yeah, Will Kane was reporting. He was the first actually on the ground from Fox News. And the only reason he had property there, and a family property, and he was doing reports, and the mayor or somebody came up to him and said, this is a media-free zone. He said, oh no, it's not. So they were trying to kick him out right then.
Well, speaking of the mayor of Maui, he was questioned yesterday, but he did not have a lot of answers.
Here's Mr. Competence himself.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. How many children are missing? You know.
I knew the answer to that. I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I guess
Nothing?
we can end this right now if you guys want. Sorry,
this is one of the biggest questions that the people of Lahaina have, but you don't want to answer.
It always takes one or two to ruin it for everybody.
Please, this is our only opportunity.
Well, we could say that about you. You ruined it for everyone.
You're welcome to say it. You're the media. You can say whatever you want.
You're a disaster.
All right. Okay.
You've been the worst mayor we could possibly imagine.
You won't even wait.
Respect what? This is the most dismal response we've ever had.
You won't wait for your turn. You want to shout over these guys that are legitimate.
Why don't you give them the real answers then? Give them the real answers.
That's not his question.
Let him.
Yeah. You can go. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So he ended the press conference because someone wanted answers on how many children are missing.
And he couldn't tell them. He couldn't even come up with some sort of figure of an educated guess.
Well, he didn't even give the typical response of, we're still doing a lot of investigation right now. You have to understand that this fire, I mean, we're going to have to do some testing. I mean, it charred a lot of the remains, whatever it is, but just saying, I don't know.
This is going to take months to sift through all of this and to get the DNA samples and everything that we need. This is kind of the natural disaster equivalent of 9/11.
Well, not only that, Bill, the fact that the federal government is like, we're not investigating anything, nothing to see here. We're going to let Hawaii take this on, especially when you can see that they had people in positions that had no business in those positions. People that should have been professionals in disasters had no experience, no education, nothing.
Yeah, the head of their emergency response service had no background whatsoever in emergency response or things of that nature. We have a Chatham County Emergency Management Center here. We've got people who have been on the ground. They have a lot of competence. They served as assistants and been in that position for over 20 years.
Probably seen some of these disasters happen and execute on a solution.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, a plan.
Yeah, sure. They've gone through 2 or 3 hurricanes just in the last 10 years here, and it's pathetic to see this, and from the federal level as well. The woman that's in charge of this operation, has she been replaced?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. And Lizzie Warren says to even mention the 67 Corvette
Yeah.
The people of Maui would love to have the Katrina experience that was used to bludgeon George Bush. But hey, they each got $700. He had a D behind his name when he ran for office. That was the only qualification.
Exactly.
So
And
this is
then-
devastating. This is devastating stuff for Hawaiians, and I will tell you that I don't know that people of Maui will be voting for another Democrat after this.
Have you seen the Maui police chief? This is another piece of work. When he was asked, when he got in that press conference, and he was pressed on this issue.
The team, when we went out at the beginning and talked about this, it's not just ash on your clothing when you take it off. It's our loved ones. That's the reverence. That's why we can't have you walking down there. And we had to arrest somebody for trespassing. And so if we want to keep doing this and slowing it down, keep doing that. Do a Freedom of Information Act and figure out who that person is. Tell that story. Knock it off.
So this is in response to people wanting to know what's going on in Lahaina, why they can't go back into their homes. They've searched, I think, about 35% of the area so far. But it makes you wonder, is there something that they don't want you to see? Because this is just... The fact that someone was let into their home and saw their 14-year-old dead with their dog, I mean, that is, I can't imagine.
That's so mind blowing. It's hard to even wander through in your imagination of making a find like that, but the monumental incompetence, and when they wouldn't release the water because a farmer may have needed it to water his pineapples or something. And that was something about the water gods or something that this guy was talking about.
The Hawaiians' relationship to water is so different from everyone else. We don't need water. We have a connection to water. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Water equity is what we're looking for, is what this guy says. And I don't know exactly what water equity is. But what they really need.
Well, if your name is Oprah, then I guess you can have it to save your home. But if you are a local to Lahaina, sorry, not for you.
But they needed those fire boats like we have that saved a condo that was being built here a couple of years ago. We had one of those fire boats that was pulling water out of the Savannah River and pouring it onto the fire. If we hadn't had that, this thing would have been a pile of ashes as well. But it's been completely rebuilt and restored and everything else. But if they had fire boats like that, and the fact that they said that they wouldn't set off the alarms because they thought people would run into the fire, excuse me? Are you that stupid, or do you think I am?
Well, they also said that the alarms were meant for all natural disasters, not just for hurricanes, not
exactly.
just... So, not only that, the people knew about the fire, but they were told that it was contained. They knew about the fire. They were told it was contained. People had nothing to worry about. And then 5 minutes before they had to evacuate, they're texting people.
Well, that used to be one of the biggest agricultural areas in the world, where we were getting a lot of our fruits and vegetables and things of that nature. And then they found out we could get them cheaper elsewhere, so they quit doing that. So that land suddenly became weeds more than anything else, which burns a lot. And then the Hawaiian...
they decided not to manage it.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, and then the Hawaiian Electric Company didn't bother to clear the brush either.
Well, and they also did not update their grids because they're going on this whole 100% renewable by 2035 or some ridiculous number like that.
Yeah,
so,
well, they can renew it now.
Yep, there's a lot of problems that come from some of the decisions that are being made.
Yes, sir. Thank an environmentalist. All right. Coming up next. Well, what we're going to do about riots at football games here. Talk to you more about it next.
She trains at 6 a.m. every morning. She spent years working to shave off seconds. She's the captain of her school's team. He's just a mid-pack finisher. But not today. Unfortunately, this competition was over before it even began.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Good morning and welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Well, several fights ended a football game between Jenkins and Benedictine this past Friday night at Memorial Stadium here. And this is the second year in a row that this has happened, where they had to suspend the game and end it early. Benedictine declared the winner. The ending wasn't in doubt. They were up 42-0 at the time.
Well, and do you think that if they would have dealt with this last year a little bit more harshly, that this would have happened again this year?
Probably not. But here you see some of the footage as the players from Benedictine here in the maroon are being called off the field. Now there was no problem with the players on the field. Let's make that absolutely 100% clear. This was all going on in the stands. There was nothing on the field that was going on that was causing this to happen. But one of the students says that the people were falling all over, jumping onto the field just to get out of the stadium as the fights went on. It felt like every which way. Jenkins High was the home team for this, and the Board of Education Police Chief Terry Enoch says that anyone who took part in the fight should be charged, banned, and punished. I know there's going to be some sort of a conclave between Benedictine and also the public schools and the police to see that this doesn't happen again. But I had a chance to talk with the Benedictine head coach, Danny Britt, about this, and he was not a happy camper and said something has to be done about this. And we're not getting a lot of answers so far.
Definitely, yeah. It was crazy and very unfortunate. Obviously, Coach Welch can't help what's going on. He's working hard with his kids. His kids are out playing on the field and doing everything they're supposed to do. And we just, it's the second year in a row we couldn't complete a game.
This is amazing. This is completely out of your hands. Like you said, the kids are doing what they're supposed to on the field. And then some ruckus going on in the stands. This needs to stop.
Yeah, it definitely needs to stop. I think last year was indeed, some kids in a TikTok challenge, and it went awry and was crazy. And this year, I think that was the initial part of it, but things just kept happening, and nobody could get control of it. And it's really sad. It's really sad to think, one, our kids didn't get to finish the game and weren't doing anything wrong. But think about the parents of the kids from Jenkins that are sitting there, whether it's their kids on the field, whether it's the cheerleaders or the band, and they're just there to support their children and watch them, and they can't do that for, what I think a lot of adults actually were causing, on that side, and it's really sad.
Well, I think one of the things that we need to do, the public school system has said, we care about safety and all that. They give the standard platitudes here, but something needs to be done. We're seeing a lack of discipline in the classroom, and I don't want to see a police state, but they're talking about more police presence at these games and things like that.
It definitely. Obviously we had more police there than certainly required. It wasn't our game; it was Jenkins' game. They had on their side. We actually hired some to be on our side as well. and it just, that's gonna be what we have to do. I don't know if that's the answer exactly. Unfortunately, we're in a bad situation because where you're seeing police officers tell teenagers to do things, and they're not doing it because they also realize that they probably can't really arrest them for just not doing exactly what they say and that sort of thing. And it's just a lack of respect, and certainly those men and women in the uniform deserve the respect.
What about as far as the game itself? I know you were declared the winner.
Correct.
But how does that fit in the stand? I know it's, we're right here at the front of the season, but what does that mean conference-wise or whatever?
It doesn't really mean anything. It was a non-conference game, and we just started the season 1-0, which is good and what we want to do. What we missed, the starters were out on our end. We were up enough to do that, but what happens is the younger guys, the second team, the third team guys, don't get any reps, and they had just gone in and I think taken one rep, and then it just continued on, and the decision was made to just go ahead and call the game.
Well, that was important to you down the road, getting these kids some game experience, and of course, it certainly helps team morale.
It definitely does. I mean, that's those kids are waiting, and this is their opportunity. Some kids, that may be the only reps they get in their high school career. Even though it's second and third team. There's also a lot of younger guys that I'm depending on in the future, and they're not getting the reps that they need. And unfortunately, we're in a situation where we don't get a full schedule of JV or freshman games. Quite honestly, because we've been so good in the past, it's hard to get games.
Well, I know Coach Welch is probably feeling the same way. He's trying to rebuild that program over there, and things are out of his hands, and he's got to feel just as bad because maybe he was going to put in subs as well because the game was pretty much out of reach.
Oh, definitely. And I talked to Coach Welch, and the first thing he's like, "Coach, I'm sorry," and it's not his. What's he going to do? He's running his team. He's on the field, and those kids were upset too, and so certainly nothing to do with Coach Welsh and what he's doing. And yeah, he does feel bad, and it's bad for them. And again, I started thinking, if I'm a parent up there watching my son or daughter cheer, or son or daughter in the band, and this is going on, I'm very, very frustrated.
What do you think can be done? I mean, we see so much of this. You've got a school here that thrives on discipline and patriotism and that sort of thing. We don't see that a lot of other places.
Yeah, I think one, obviously for me, you bring God back into the public school system, and that would help to change things immediately.
Yeah.
And I know that is a big topic, but for me, that's the primary reason why I'm here. And if we did that would certainly help. And then, we have to get discipline back into the school system some way.
Danny, I'm so old. I was there when God was expelled. Right. So, and a lot of people say that's a real simple answer, but I think that is the answer, because look what's happened since he left.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, that is the answer. And for all of us believers, we know that and prescribe to that. But I don't know that that's going to happen, but that is the answer.
Looking down the rest of the schedule, and how you feel about this team. Every team has its own sort of personality. You got to see a little of it on Friday night. What do you think?
I'm excited. I think we can be a very good football team. We still got a long way to go. Our motto this year, so to speak, is focus, and focusing on the right things. And I felt like we did that Friday night. And if we continue to do that, we can be really good.
You've been known recently for having good quarterbacks and running backs and things like that. What do you think of your man at the controls?
Luke's a dude. I mean, he's special. He's a special guy, very talented. And again, the biggest thing with Luke, I've said it over and over ago, is his mentality. He's tough. He just wants to win. The kids follow him, so he's a special guy.
Maybe the atmosphere like here on campus, and because there is a focus and a control here that we don't have in a lot of schools.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's one reason why we can be successful. Also, I think this is one of the few places where you can truly still make young men and develop young men, because we can be hard on them. We do teach them how to shake hands and how to say things. And does that make them perfect? No, none of us are perfect. They're going to go out and do things and misbehave just like everybody else. However, we are in a place where we can discipline them. We can force them to do certain things, and I think they're better for it.
All right. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, sir. Good luck with the rest of the season. Danny Britt, head coach and athletic director at Benedictine, and all-around great guy. He is they're back-to-back state champions, so they're going for a three-peat this year.
Well, and I love what he said at the end, where they can still, it's a place where they can still make men.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's so important, and I think that that's what's missing across the country. And I do think that that's why the discipline at Benedictine also implies that that's probably not where the problems came from on Friday.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, but from Coach Britt's standpoint, and thanks for his time, we'll be talking. By the way, we have an appointment to talk to Coach Tony Welch at Jenkins today, so we'll have that for you tomorrow and get his reaction, because I know that he's just as embarrassed about this. And we were talking about the quarterback. He said, the big number 17 there, that is Luke Kromenhoek, and he's already committed to Florida State. But this is one of these guys who's a real team leader on the field and off the field, tall and really in great shape. He takes the hits and he's the real deal. Florida State's lucky to get this guy. I wish he was staying here, but
well, you got to go. You got to go.
Got to go someplace,
yep.
and what you like and what you feel. So good luck to Luke. You're going to hear a lot of good things from him. He may be even playing on Sunday one of these days.
Yes, and Lizzie Warren's with us, and she says, "Yeah, blame it on TikTok, SCCPSS."
Yeah. Well, cell phone video does show that one of the fights breaking out in the stands, and Chief Terry Enoch, good friend of mine. This is a real solid guy, head of the Chatham County Police, school police, says a student and an adult were involved in one fight, and many others, he said, rocked the stadium. Said the fights were occurring down in the concession stands and out in the area where people were in line coming in and out of the parking lot area. Multiple fights that were going on. They're not going to let people come in now with backpacks anymore, unless it's a clear backpack. Of course, you can put a lot of garbage in a clear backpack as well, but you're not going to be able to come in with a regular backpack.
But here's the thing: like this is unacceptable behavior. We should not be fighting at high school football games, especially adults. Get it together.
Yeah, really.
And Lizzie Warren said, and if they are arrested, Shalina will make sure they walk free. For those of you that don't know who Shalina is, she is our lovely DA here in Chatham County.
Mm-hmm. They said this.
One more. Yeah. All of the private schools have strong discipline. Parents in the county are making sacrificial choices to get their children out of the public schools.
Yeah, the Savannah Country, they played a game the other night, and there was no riot there. They didn't have to suspend the game. And St. Andrews also had a game as well, and no problems.
Well,
and they've never had problems at those games. I covered high school football here for darn near 30 years, and never saw anything like this, even in the public schools, at least at the time.
Again, this is a reflection of culture, and it's creeping in here in Savannah, and it is not a good thing.
The Savannah Chatham County Schools have released a statement shortly after the game saying they believe that TikTok trend, they said that's supposed to create the impression of a large chaotic event, was what started all this. Well, that's been sort of poo-pooed, at least at part, and a student shared with me that this may have been related to TikTok. We're looking into that. Chief Enoch also says that they did follow the protocols of this kind for an incident, had a good amount of police there. Yeah, the players were safe on the field. They all came together, and again, the players had nothing to do with this. The coaches had nothing to do with this.
Well, all of the people in the stands, you ruined this for the cheerleaders, the band, the football players, and parents trying to watch their kids.
Exactly.
And the fact that they have to hire their own security for both sides, it's pretty ridiculous that that's where we are. We never had that at any of the football games that I was at. I
love bureaucracy, because we have the Deputy Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, whatever the hell that means. But she says that they hope that they're going to work with parents to prevent these incidents from ever happening again. So there's going to be some sort of a conclave, a meeting among parents, principals, players, and everything else to see that this doesn't happen anymore, and police.
Yeah, well, they'll have a stern talking to, like the Republicans. They'll write a sternly worded letter.
We'll write yes, sir, you tell me.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly.
Coming up next.
Well, guess who's going to be here on Thursday? We'll be talking about that when we get back.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke. When I grow up, I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety
and do workplace sensitivity training
all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Come join us today at Sweet Potato's Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
So happy birthday to us.
Yes, I can't believe it's been a year, Bill, but it has. We've been doing this for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real. And continue.
Yes, and for Get Real America, we're asking you guys to support us. You can donate, you can subscribe, you can become an advertiser or an investor.
Yeah. You can own some stock.
Yeah, and like us on all of the platforms and download our app, The Local Spin. So those are the ways that you can support us. Please do, in order for us to keep doing the show.
And when you have your friends that, I don't know what a podcast is, I don't know how to get to a podcast, just explain it to them. It's no different probably than turning on the radio for the most part.
Yes, I think that's the biggest thing is, transitioning everyone from the radio to the podcast.
Yeah.
So, President Trump, he's going to be here this week. He's going to go surrender, I guess. Turn himself in. Yeah. Well, he'll be in Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
So
the other Georgia.
Yeah, and Mary actually says 10,000 views. Happy birthday! Congratulations. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
He will be here. I think that very interesting. It'll be the night after the debate, so he will have talked to Tucker Carlson, which I think will also make things very interesting for him when he gets here. I do know that there are a lot of people that are gathering in Atlanta to greet President Trump with some love. Not sure what time yet, but they are updating that on, all of the social media outlets.
Fox has got the debate tomorrow night, and President Trump will not be there. And frankly, I think it's a good decision because everything would be focused on him. It would be all about him. It would be all about the indictments, and I think it would just go on. And it's not really going to be a debate anyway. These things are never a debate. It's unfortunate. They used to have when Kennedy and Nixon went at it. Howard K. Smith, who was the moderator at the time from ABC, just let him go. Just keep on. Every once in a while, he would throw in a question. But Kennedy and Nixon bounce things back and forth. That's what a real debate is.
Yeah, the moderator really does ruin things.
Yeah.
For the most part. So
ask a question and then get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, Chris Christie, the fact that he's going to be able to debate is just like sickening to me.
What a disappointment.
Yeah, Asa Hutchinson, he did make the cut as well. So did Mike Pence. And the only person I'm looking forward to seeing debate because I think he's fiery is Vivek.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone you're particularly looking forward to seeing?
Vivek among the others, but Mike Pence, as much as I like him, is milquetoast, and I'm very disappointed in his reaction to his vice presidency and what he said about Donald Trump, that he ought to go to jail and things of that nature. I don't think this helps the Republican Party in any way, shape, or form. Asa Hutchinson, I don't know what he's thinking. I know the country is really not on the verge of Asa Hutchinson mania. I can tell you that. I don't think Larry Elder is going to be there, and I'd love to see him there.
I don't think he made the 40,000 donations, which is the requirement by the RNC.
It's really a shame because he's a firebrand as well.
Yes.
And in a more quiet fashion. But he was on with this idiot Charlemagne the God. On his radio show just a few weeks ago, and he took him to the woodshed. He told Charlemagne, he said, "Why did you sit here when Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black?" He said, "Why did you let that go?" And Charlemagne was like, "Well, what was I supposed to say?" And he said, "Well, he should have said,
should have called him to the carpet."
Yeah. How dare you say, how do you know what I feel like as a black person? How dare you say that I have some monolithic thinking?
Well, why don't you ask him about the racial jungle that he was worried about? Why don't you ask him about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of things you could have said, Charlemagne. But I do think the thing about Larry Elder that I like is that you don't expect him to say some of the stuff that he says, and you're kind of like, because he is kind of that quiet zinger, if you will.
Absolutely.
So
I'm sorry he's not going to be there.
Yeah, me too. And Mary says definitely watching to see Vivek. I think that he is the prime time right now. Although Trump is leading in the polls by a lot, we're hearing that all over the place. As far as even on CNN, they're saying he can win and he could beat Biden. I think there's like it's within the margin of error at this point. Of course, in political terms, we have a long way to go. So
and
no telling.
They are terrified.
Oh yes, they are.
That he could win. On Morning Joke on BSDNC, when you've got Joe and his blow up doll co-anchor and a third wife.
I can't think of her name right now.
They're sitting there. He said,
Mika.
Mika, yeah. It could be it's going to be the end of our democracy if he gets in there.
We're not a democracy, so yes, I hope so.
There you go. I hope it's an end of a democracy. As Benjamin Franklin used to say, a democracy is two wolves and a sheep discussing what's for dinner.
Yeah, it's we're a constitutional republic, so I'm really sick of them saying the democracy thing. I think that's we're not a democracy, and there's a reason for that, and it's so that we are not ruled by the tyranny of the majority.
Exactly.
Which could get really scary, especially for people that do not live in California, New York, or Chicago.
That's what the Electoral College was set up all about. The founding fathers were a lot smarter than most of they've got more. They had more sense in their little finger than most of these. If you put all the people together in Washington today and put them together, you wouldn't have the intelligence that one of these people had.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing is Trump, with him leading in the polls the way that he is, I don't know if it's a mistake or not for not debating. I do think that we we need to have him debate at some point.
Exactly.
But I do think that this kind of weeds out the one percenters, which means these people are getting 1% in the polls. Like, what are you doing? You're milking the system. You're taking up resources that could be used to do some of the work on the ground that we should be doing as Republicans. So these people don't care about the Republican Party. They don't care about the mission. They don't care about any of that. This is a self-serving run for president, in my opinion.
So be sure to make sure that you get out and vote. We got early voting coming up here very shortly for us with the local elections that
August
are on the
28th
way.
For this special election, which one of the coaches at Benedictine is actually running. He is one of the coaches for special teams, I believe. His name is David Tootle. So definitely a disciplined person, and he's a Republican. So
yeah, absolutely.
If you're in District 2, vote for Tootle.
Really, really, really good guy.
Yes.
So he is. Hopefully, he's going to get the slot.
Yes, and Lizzie Warren says hypocrite equals Charlemagne, and every indictment makes me more determined to vote for Trump. And I think that that's how a lot of people are feeling. We of course have the Lincoln Project, Never Trumpers that hopefully will get on board, because I think the problem with the Republican Party is, okay, let's duke it out in the primaries, but then shut up and get behind the candidate. I mean, the Democrats do it all the time.
Without a doubt.
So why can't we as Republicans figure that out?
So make sure that you support. This was going on. I was listening to Clay and Buck yesterday on the radio when and some guy was calling in and said if it's not Donald Trump, he's not going to vote, because he said he thinks it's over. He said it doesn't make any difference even if it is Donald Trump, because he thinks that the whole thing is so rigged now that a Republican can never get elected again. And Trey took him to the woodshed, and rightly so. He said, "So you mean to tell me that if it's not Donald Trump, if it's somebody like, even if it's Nikki Haley or to Tim Scott, you're not going to get out and vote? That's cutting off your nose to spite your face."
And honestly, it's not going to be them. It will be Vivek, if anyone. Ron DeSantis didn't even come to either one of our minds, I just realized, because he did say that people that are voting for Trump are listless vessels, I believe.
Well, no. Okay, let's put that in context.
Okay.
Because he didn't say that. He said if you think this way, you're a listless vessel. I know that I was mad at Fox because when I listened to him, I said, that isn't what he's not calling us listless vessels. He's saying that if you think that way, if you're not going to vote if your candidate doesn't get in, the person that you were pulling for, then why be just a listless vessel? If you're just going to support one candidate and not going to vote if that one candidate doesn't get in. That's what he said.
Well, and the thing is, but because Ron DeSantis says stuff like that, it gets him in trouble, and he needs to be. He needs some media training.
You say things. I got called on the carpet one time. The time that I almost lost, I thought I might lose my job, because I said something that people took the wrong way, and I explained to my bosses. I said, "Look, I do 15 hours a week without a net, without a script." I said, other people that are doing editorial on television or something, they have a chance to write it, rewrite it, record it, re-record it, edit it to exactly the way they want. We're doing, at the time I was working with Laura Anderson, a great co-host just like you. And
thanks, Bill.
And we were discussing an issue, and people thought that I said something, and I said, I've said this for the last 10 years here. I've said the same thing for the last 10 years, and nobody said, but somebody got offended, and so they called me on the carpet for it. And I said, look, there are a lot of times when you say something and said, I wish I could take that back. I'm sorry I said that. That didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So when you're doing it live and we don't have a chance, that there's no script, you sometimes say things that you wish you hadn't said.
Yeah, well, I think the fact that he hasn't come out and addressed it is part of the issue as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But his campaign has not done a great job of managing that, and I think that that's why we're seeing him tanking in the polls, and why we're seeing Vivek is really the one that is coming to light, and I think that he is going to be right behind Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the fact that Vivek is actually getting respect from Trump voters because Vivek is trying to do the right thing and he is speaking,
standing up for Trump.
He is, but it's not because it's Trump. It's because it's the right thing and what they're doing is wrong.
Because it's the Constitution.
Yes. So, and I heard the other day, Vivek is running the campaign that Ron DeSantis should have run. And it would have been way easier for DeSantis since there was so much stuff going on in Florida against Trump. He could have easily gained the Trump vote.
Exactly.
But he chose not to do it.
Yeah, it was very disappointing.
Very disappointing.
All right, coming up next.
Well, when you start fires, you do get caught, Bill.
Oh, glad to hear that.
Yes, when we get back.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning here as we head down the home stretch on this Tuesday, 22nd day of August.
Yes, and the rest of August is going to be wild.
Yeah, it sure is.
We'll see what kind of shenanigans appear as Trump comes into Atlanta this Thursday.
Yeah, day after tomorrow, he's going to be turning himself in. And there's a possibility of the mugshot, something that has been that Communist News Network and DNC have been drooling over for 6 years now.
Well, and I think the only two representatives that I've seen in Georgia that have stepped up to the plate are Representatives Colton Moore and Shirley Spurd. They are both members of the Freedom Caucus, and I do think that it's important that our representatives stand up for this because they are Republicans, and at the end of the day, we're the ones being persecuted, and the DOJ is being weaponized against us. So whether you agree with Trump or don't agree with Trump, that doesn't matter. Like we talked about earlier, that's why Vivek is standing up. It's not because it's Trump, it's because it's the right thing. So I do think we have a clip of Colton Moore who is standing up, and he's asking for a special session from Brian Kemp.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Colton Moore from Northwest Georgia, State Senator. I've officially called for an emergency legislative session to investigate corrupt District Attorney Fani Willis. I'm sick and tired of these weak, so-called leaders telling us to sit down and be quiet. We have to take action. I need patriots like you to help me. We got a country to save.
So
isn't that the truth?
Yes, he's 31 years old. Can't believe he is the one standing up. Actually, he might be 29 now that I think about it.
I don't care.
He's young.
I don't care if he's 12.
Yeah, well, he's brave. He's standing up. I think his mother said, I don't know if you should be doing this because it definitely is, they are targeting people. I don't know if you want to be the target. And he's like, I'm going to do the right thing.
Well, and that's the whole problem. Oh, you better not say anything because you're going to be the target next. Well, they can only shoot at so many of us. That's how the civil rights movement got underway. The small percentage of this population suddenly got together and said, we're not going to stand up for this anymore. When they went in and started sitting down at the Woolworths counter here in Savannah. And you either served them or you didn't do any business that day.
Yep, and I think
that's how that movement got started, and that's how we got integration. And now, of course, we've got the leaders of the quote black community now that are trying to resegregate the place. That's a different story. But the fact is that they did it in overwhelming numbers. And just like if you think that the voting system is corrupt or something, if we show up in overwhelming numbers. I was very disappointed in the last when we were going for a runoff for the Senate, and we got 2 Democratans instead of Republicans, because a lot of we had some of the Republican leaders are saying the system's rigged, so stay home. So about 30,000 Republicans stayed home, which would have swung the election to the other direction, and we wouldn't be bothered with these 2 communists that we got up there now.
Yep, and we would be in a much better position for impeachments and punishing a lot of these people that are breaking the laws of our country. So Lizzie Warren says, love Colton. That's an excellent point, Bill. Can only target so many people, overwhelm them. And then Mary says, not standing up is condoning it. Absolutely. And
silence is not golden, it's yellow.
Yes, well, and you really need to get involved, and one of the ways that you can do that is by making these phone calls to your representatives, your state representatives, and your state senators, and also the governor and the AG, which is Chris Carr. And
I put in a request to have Governor Kemp with us as soon as possible. So we will see, and we'll ask him about this and why he's not making more noise about this as well, and getting rid of this dreadful DA in Atlanta, daughter of a Black Panther.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous what's going on, especially in Georgia. How is this happening in Georgia, of all places?
And
I expect this from New York and D.C.
If you were with us yesterday, you saw that the interview that Newt Gingrich did with Charlie Kirk of Turning Point America, Turning Point USA, saying that he has it on very reliable, even though it's hearsay, he has it on from very reliable sources that the DOJ called the district attorney in Atlanta and said on Friday night and said, you have to have this thing done by Monday. You have to have this guy indicted by Monday. She was told by Washington, She even resisted to a degree and said that's too soon. I won't have enough. The press. We're talking about maybe a 10 or 11 o'clock press conference, and they said no, you don't understand. It doesn't matter if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You will indict this guy.
Well,
and the 18 others that they've indicted along with him. I'm surprised I'm not on the list.
It's coming, Bill.
Oh, I'm sure.
You're on a list somewhere. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So
but so be it.
Well, some good news though is that they actually did. So this Trump derangement syndrome, it's real.
Yeah, it is.
We have this guy that drove past a house that had a Trump 1 sign, a Trump 24 sign, and he lit it on fire. We actually have the footage of that right now.
Yeah, taking a look at it. So he's got this. Sign. I want one of these. Trump 1.
So he kicks it. So angry. He realizes that it's not going to do anything. So he leaves on his little bike, and that's 7:14 in the morning. Okay. Great. So he comes back in the middle of the night. You see that it's 4:15 in the morning. This guy, he's still got his
He looks like he's naked.
He's got his biking gear on.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay. I thought he was coming in with a cheesecloth or something.
Well, you notice that he moved the flag because he knew that if it had lit anything else on fire, it could cause serious damage to other homes and things like that spread. So he lights it on fire. He destroys this sign, which it seems so ridiculous. Like, you're going to go somewhere at 4:15 in the morning to do this, Bill?
Wow.
Ridiculous.
An early riser.
Yes. So, but the good news is there were several rewards offered, and someone actually out of California, I believe this happened in Virginia, someone in California actually is the one that found out who this person was, and it was because they had one of those activity watches on, and they were able to track him on his bike. So if you're committing a crime, remember to turn everything off. Maybe don't take anything with you. They were able to also identify him with that tattoo you see on his arm.
Well, that's pretty good facial recognition too. That's a pretty good profile shot.
Yeah,
and you'll be able to get something out of that.
The thing is this is probably a normal everyday guy, Bill. Just the Trump derangement is absolutely ridiculous.
Your next door neighbor, the guy you work with in the next cubicle or what at work.
Yes, and
whoever.
I believe that he did confess to this crime. He is going to be charged not only criminally but civilly. So interesting stuff going on, Bill.
Yeah, I don't understand these people. I have Joe Biden derangement syndrome here too, but I don't go around burning people's signs or going up to them. And talk show host Neil Bortz went up to a guy that had a Obama sticker on his car when the Dalai Lama was running for president the first time. He said, "Excuse me, sir, somebody's vandalized your car." and the guy said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, you got an Obama sticker on there, and you don't look that stupid."
I actually love that.
Yeah,
that's very good.
Too.
Very good. Very creative.
My wife actually stopped me a few months ago. We were going through the Kroger parking lot, and you can always tell a liberal because they've got about 87 bumper stickers. All plastered all over their car,
coexist,
including the coexist. Of course, that's a clue.
Yeah.
But this one was, and she was white. It said "Stop White Supremacy," and I wanted to go up to her and say exactly what is white supremacy and how do we do that? And Pam pulled me back and said, we need to go.
That's why you're married. That's why men need to get married. They need their wives to stop them from doing things like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Pam.
But we were talking about the early voting. You remember, and just if this sounds like the running broad jump, David Tootle?
Yes.
He was on Laura Ingraham. First time I met him when he was at a rally here and did a great interview with him and had him on the radio with me a couple of times. But he had a big Trump sign in his flag and it was burned or stolen. Yep. He put up another one. It was burned, it was stolen. He put up another one. He just kept putting them up. He wasn't going to tolerate this thing from his friends in the black community that were in favor of this idiot that we have now.
Yes, and you will be making a appearance at something called Stargate.
Yeah, Starbase.
Starbase. Sorry.
Yeah, this is a program. This may be one of the best programs you never heard of. Starbase is a program under the Department of Defense. And they are only like 2 or 3. You can only have like 2 in each state. Most states don't have them, but we do. and South Carolina does as well, at least once upon a time. But it's a program for fifth graders. And they go in, and this one, the one here is at Hunter Army Airfield, and our Kiwanis Club is having a luncheon there today to look this over. But the fifth graders come in and they learn about navigation, they learn about flying planes, they learn about they've applied mathematics. They have to build a rocket. After I think it's like 6 weeks that they have this, the kids get out of school, they go there for an hour once a week to this program. And they've got flight simulators in there. They can fly a plane, making quotes here, fly a plane from here to Charleston. One kid plays the navigator, one kid plays the pilot. Then they swap and fly the plane back. They have to get it back. They have to have a rocket that launches successfully at the end of the program. It teaches them about science. It is wonderful. It is, and the teachers a lot of times use it as a disciplinary tool. Okay, you're acting up in class. You're not going to Starbase this week. Oh God, let me slit my wrist. Yes, teacher. So this is a very successful program. We had to get our knees bloody, begging to get this program here. Because there was already one, I think, up at Warner Robins at the Air Force Base there. We were trying to get another one here, and this is the only place that's on an Army base. Most of them are on the Beaufort Marine Corps Air Station used to have one. I don't know what happened to it. But this is a program that's very successful. The kids love it. They actually learn something, and we have to beg, borrow, and steal to try to get funds. Gulfstream has helped out a lot by donating a lot of their equipment and everything, and computers and things of that nature for the kids. But programs that are not successful, they seem to throw more money at. This one, it took both of our senators, who at the time were Johnny Isakson and Senior Moment. But they got that taken care of, and a fellow named Scott Martins here was relentless in getting this thing accomplished. And finally we have one, and I'll have a little report on it for you tomorrow, Starbase. It's a great program for fifth graders, and I'm telling you, we ought to have more of them.
So we'll have some fun tomorrow with that, as well as some other things that we're working on. So we will.
Coach from Jenkins will get his reaction to this mess that happened for the second year in a row at their ball game on Friday night.
Yes. So thanks for tuning in. Remember to download our app, become a member, an advertiser. You can also donate or just like us. That would be
absolutely a shoebox full of 20s would be nice.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yes.
Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys tomorrow.
God bless. You can't spell Democrat without R-A-T. Stay real.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.